Okay, we're recording, and go ahead and state your name and what you do.
I am Andres Useche, and I'm a writer, director, composer, producer.
Producer? Good.
Yeah.
I am Mary Gillespie, and I'm with Student Reviewed out of Phoenix.
Nice.
Thank you for being here with us today. Tell us a little bit about how you broke into what you're doing. What got you to do what you're doing?
It's a long story, but I started writing stories since before I could type. My dad would type them for me as a little kid, and I published a cartoon when I was in like 11 years old, a political cartoon, in local newspaper in Colombia, and did like a graphic novel in high school that won an award, and then adapted that into a film, and then it got seen and went to festivals and won a couple and brought me to LA, and that's how it started basically.
And so it was LA that got you going there. So
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Wow. The Flame You Keep is one I did in support of refugees around the world, Syrian refugees, and it sort of documented the story of Yusra Mardini, who is a swimmer. They made a film called Swimmers about her and her sister, who actually helped when their boat was sinking, when they were migrating, and they actually, because they were professional swimmers, they helped pull it to safety. So it's an inspiring story, but it in the middle of a lot of heartache. So I like that. Marching into the Light, which is supporting immigrant rights, is a big one. Of course, superhero / thriller. Havana Spuma is like very close to my heart because it was like my first big thing.
Very cool. So you did mention you had a comic book. I'm going to bump back to that. What was the comic book that you did?
So that one I was thinking about at that time is Havana Spuma. And that's sort of about the dichotomy between fiction and reality, and mental health, and it had little bits of mystery and suspense, and it has like a philosophical angle as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
What is your favorite genre to work in?
It changes because I do a lot of documentaries, but right now thrillers. I'm doing a lot of thrillers right now and superhero stuff, so it's near to my heart. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. So how do you ensure that diversity is part of that? How do you? And do you have any? Let me back up a little bit here. Do you have anything that you do when you're doing your research and you're coming up with your ideas? Do you have like a system that you go through to make sure? Look, I need to make sure that this is doing this, or I want to make sure that this is showing this.
Well, I'd like to think that my work, that I've had this impulse, always, but it's become more and more of a conscious effort to make sure that everybody, that if I talk about a marginalized population, for example, that if I'm not part of that community, that I'm including that community in every part of the process. And making sure that people are not tokenized, or that we don't fall into stereotypes, but always strive for look for the reality of the human complexity in everyone. Yeah.
Are you finding that it's easier now to do that than it was when you first started? In other words, it's becoming, finally, it's becoming to where diversity, we're all conscious of. Are you noticing a difference in the world now, of your world now? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. How it's easier to do that now, to ensure diversity now, or is it just a natural thing that is happening?
Well, right now it's a complex moment, because I would say we were making strides, but as we speak, diversity and inclusion, equity and inclusion programs are directly under threat. And those are very real challenges that we're facing, and that's going to affect every industry, and it's already affecting our communities very directly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It definitely is. So what kind of advice can you give for people that are wanting to get into your line of work? What kind of advice would you give them, the young ones out there?
Yeah, you got to be very passionate about it, and just be truthful to yourself, rather than try to fall into some paradigm that you see of what's popular. There's so many people trying to do that it's going to be harder to break through that if you actually look for something that really represents deeply who you are and your individuality. If you do that, I think you have a better shot.
You have a better shot of it. Do you have any Any heroes that you follow? Any inspiration? Who inspires you?
Oh, a lot of folks. Like Jorge Luis Borges, deceased writer, is one of my favorites. But someone I admire a lot, and he's a great person in every way, is Guillermo del Toro. I look up to him, and I guess everybody does in this industry. He's such a nice guy, and he's just a great person all around. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
So, if you could do any project, what would it be? What is your dream project to do?
My dream project is one of mine. This is a big project that I have that I can't really discuss a lot, but it's something that I hope to see one day.
So we'll keep an eye for it, right?
Yeah, hopefully in the next, I don't know, next Comic-Con we do, maybe we'll have something to show for it. I don't know.
We'll see what's going on. So I was just going to ask the next question, what's coming up? But it sounds like it's something that's coming, but we just have to wait for it. Am I right?
Yes. I mean, I can tell you about something else, which is because of the current situation and the threat to immigrant families and the pain that I'm seeing in our communities, I re-recorded a song that I wrote some years ago about immigrant rights, and I'm creating a new film, a new documentary / music video for it that should be out in July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you mentioned immigrants, I live in Arizona. I live close to the border. In fact, I lived on the border at one point. And seeing the families come across is just heart-wrenching. Do you, the research you do for your roles, for what your projects are, do you do the real life instead of going to the news? Do you actually go to the areas, try to get a feel for the people that are coming across that type? I
have, yeah, and just interacting with those families, and one very sad story is, I mean, I shouldn't get too much into it, but it's a dreamer who took his own life. I dedicated one of my film studios, so I went and visited with his family, and basically what he had said was that being undocumented, he couldn't reach his dreams, and he felt very hopeless, and he was just a kid. So part of the message that we're trying to impart is, hold on. Things may look bleak, but there's a lot of us pulling for you and trying to support you. And by example, I've seen so many dreamers thrive and make great careers and lives for themselves. And there's nothing more American than them in my eyes. Like everything they accomplish, everything they do, they love this country. That's why they're here.
That's exactly right. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and that was a great close.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.